Hi, I'm CJ Altenberg with Transwest Truck Trailer RV in Frederick, Colorado, and we appreciate you tuning in this morning. We've got a used trailer sitting behind me. This is a 2020 Cimarron Norstar 2-horse bumper pull. Now this is a very lightly used. Again, I am not a fan of the term like new. I like saying this is a lightly used trailer, but it is used because that's what the truth is. When we see trailers like this come in, we understand things change. We originally sold this trailer and this gentleman needed to go into a 4-horse gooseneck. He was able to completely customize it, which is fantastic, which is what we can do with these new Cimarrons. But we were able to get this trailer in on trade. Didn't see a lot of miles, didn't see a lot of use. But with that being said, when we bring a trailer like this in on trade, we want to put them through our shop. We'll put it on alignment machine, making sure it's running true and straight down the road. Repack bearings on this trailer, check all the lights. We want to go through them and recondition them as best we can so that when you go ahead and get the trailer, you can go enjoy it. You're not having to make repairs, adjustments, things like that, having to worry about those type of items. So that's what we like to do to these trailers when we bring them in. Now, again, with this one being a 2020 and not seeing a lot of use, I'll show you as we walk through it. We didn't have to do a whole lot to this trailer. But if you're in the market for an all aluminum, lightly used trailer, this is a great candidate for it. Before we get into it, let's take a look at the drawing because we have that since we originally sold the trailer. So this is standard width, standard height. So we're 6'10" wide, we're 7'1" tall. We have a front dressing room with a folding rear tack, which I'll show you. And then as we start working through the trailer itself, I'll show you a couple things. One thing that you're looking at is from the hitch to the bumper, you're 17 feet. And then you're 14 feet from the nose back. So you have that 3-foot tongue there. Now, you have a single leg, bulldog, crank jack. You have a 2 5/16 ball. And what we want to look at is when you come to purchase this, we might have to look at some different drops as far as the hitch goes itself, because we want this trailer to run true and nice and, basically we want our trailer running nice and level because we want that equal weight distribution on those 2 axles. So we'll take a look at that, but again, a 2 5/16 ball. This trailer is just over 2,300 pounds empty, so that gives you an idea on weight. This could be towed with all half-ton pickups or larger in today's market, even some SUVs. The main thing is we just got to make sure you have brakes, whether it's an integrated brake control system or an aftermarket brake control system. You have to have brakes in order to leave here because we want to plug it in. Our brakes are useless on this trailer without that type of a setup. So that's one thing we always got to look at. If you're in the market and you're needing an aftermarket brake control system, we can set that up ahead of time, get the shop ready. Usually a couple hours they can have that installed and ready for you to go use on this trailer. But let's take a look at it. So again, front dressing room on this setup here. One thing that Cimarron does is all their doors have a lot of framework. So between this window and the edge of the door, that's all framework. So it's big and heavy duty, nice and stout. It's square at the top. If it's square at the top, that means it's a made at the factory door, so it's really heavy duty. If it's rounded at the top, it's a prefab door, so it's a lot lighter weight. This has a nice heavy seal to it and a lot of weight when you actually feel the door. But as far as us getting in this tack room, very standard options here. We have a removable saddle post. This I can pull out and put in the rear tack room if you do decide to do that, and then have a little bit more floor space here. These are awesome because these pads can be adjusted. Same with the blanket poles. If we wanted to add additional, we could. It's basically just loosening up these nuts here, sliding them where you want them, and then tightening them up. Or again, we can add as well. Corner water tank, so 25 gallons of fresh water. It does come standard with this hose right here that we see hanging on the bridle hooks. One thing that I recommend to a lot of customers is just in these type of scenarios when it's on the back wall is just go ahead and get you a little bit longer garden hose with a ball valve. And your ball valve's on your outside because you can have it open over here and literally just reach in and grab it and you can fill your buckets up outside. You're not having to, transition them in and out of this area here. Again, the bridle hooks. So these are aluminum powder coated bridle hooks. This is a new set that Cimarron's been using for the last couple years. They're a lot taller and deeper, in my opinion. You know, the older bridle hooks were really kind of small and shallow and didn't have this type of depth. We understand you're going to end up throwing a lot of, whether it's bridles or you know, any type of halters, anything like that on these. Let's get you a little bit deeper type of a setup so it actually holds them. And then you got carpet behind it. There is an LED light directly above the door, so when you step in here you can hit the light switch and you have all this light coverage when you come into this tack room. This is champagne sheeting, and what it is in my opinion, when it's a real clear day and the sun's directly on it, in certain angles it's going to look a little bit lighter. It's almost going to have a silver look to it, and then when you get it in the shade it's going to have a little bit more of a gold, but it is that champagne sheeting, so a little different color. It actually works with a lot of these newer trucks that have a lot of that, you know, champagne or a tan type trim. You see a lot of those running around, so it works really well there. Two 3,500 pound Dexter rubber torsion axles, 15-inch aluminum wheels. Again, we always look at these tires. We want them to be matching on the ground when we bring them in. Because of the age of this trailer, these are original tires, so they're not out of date based on the date code, but we look at the tread, making sure there's nothing, you know, odd wear there. And again, we want them to all match when we get these used trailers on the lot here. Big bus windows on the hip wall. I give Cimarron a lot of credit there. A lot of manufacturers will do very small bus windows, and you have to remember that only about half of that window is going to open. So in order to get a lot of airflow, when you open up half of this, that's what you're going to get. So they really utilize that and try to get as much and as big of bus windows as we can on that hip wall. It's really important to get airflow through these trailers, keeping horses nice and cool and comfortable from that standpoint. And then they go ahead and put one in this back door that you can see as well. So you can create kind of a vacuum through here. So whether it's dropping your head windows, using your two-way roof vents, and then obviously our bus windows, and then this back one, trying to, again, create that airflow. Think about on a real hot day where there's no air movement, it gets kind of hot and stuffy and you just don't feel comfortable. A little bit of breeze kicks up and you feel better. So when we get that breeze or that cross breeze or any type of air movement through these trailers, it does make a big difference for the horses. Also, on top of that, every single Cimarron comes standard with an insulated roof. So that keeps your stall area that much cooler as well. It's about 20%. So I really like taking customers here on the lot when we get into our real hot summer months and taking them to trailer, taking them from a trailer with an all aluminum roof that's all sealed up and then walking them over to a Cimarron, and you can feel the difference physically when you step in it by saying, wow, this trailer is a lot cooler. And it's all because of that roof. And then when we top it off with these items as far as our two-way roof vents, our bus windows, and then the drop windows that we'll show you when we get to driver's side, it does make a massive difference. We've got a solid divider here, padded. And then we've got feed bags at each stall, easily removed. It's just the D-rings here that snap in, so we can take these in or out if we want. But these dividers are so solid because this is the same extrusion that they use on the outside of the trailer. Everything has a radius as well. So nothing sharp, nothing protruding out, no sharp 90-degree angles. Animal safety is number one, and it always should be on trailers. And with that being said, this is safer for the horses and safer for you. This slam latch, very easy to use. Get your horse in place and go ahead and shut it, and then releasing it's very easy as well. This is a heavy UHMW plastic paddle latch, so we're not having metal to metal contact where it actually, the divider touches into that, so we don't have that rattle and clank creating a lot more noise for the horses. This aluminum powder coated piece here is even cut on the ends here with a radius. So again, nothing sharp, nothing protruding out. The other thing is we're standing on the industry's best floor. This is a 12-inch deck piece. It's an extruded piece of aluminum. It's tongue and groove, high and low. It locks in. They build these trailers actually upside down, the floor itself, and then once they get all the floor constructed, they'll flip it over and then start building up from there. But you're standing on 4-inch centers, so imagine hoof size of a horse. Wherever they're standing on this floor, they're standing on a support beam. The quickest and easiest way, in my opinion, to tell quality of an all aluminum trailer is get down on the ground and look at the floor underneath. Centers will start spreading apart. Those centers run across the trailer the entire length, but as centers start moving apart, that's where we can get those pits and waves and floor. That's a good place for urine to kind of form and just sit there, and then again we'll start getting some corrosion. All aluminum floors, trailers should always be cared for. Pulling the mats at least once a year, depending on use, but power washing this out, letting it completely dry. We like to recommend putting baking soda down. That way you put that down, it'll counteract the acidity of the urine, and then putting your mats back in the trailer itself. But again, really, really safe in this horse area. We also have the big LED lights in here. These are the Optibrights. We try to put these on all of our inventory pieces just because they put off so much lighting. We understand there's going to be situations where you're going to be loading and unloading in the dark. Let's try to get you as much coverage as we can. And then you have an LED light up above, an 8-inch load light here at the back to get a little bit more light coverage. And then as we're looking over to the left, there's that folding rear tack. So additional storage, like in this scenario here, I know he carried a lot of his hay back here, muck bucket, those type of items. If you wanted to get this out of the way, you can literally just unpin it and it breaks over and folds against the wall. Or in the scenario where you want to move that saddle rack from up front, you can just remove that post, bring it back here, and we already have the hardware in the floor and the ceiling for that. And then it opens up the front for you. There's also scenarios where you could have an additional post built. We could get it up here from Cimarron based on the height of the trailer and install it back here. Maybe you want to haul additional saddles with you and just put them back in this area. We can do that. You've got your hooks, you've got a light back there, and then a brush tray. So you have some items back here in this rear tack room area. Also, maybe your horse prefers a rear ramp. We could have a rear ramp added to this trailer. We just remove that rubber bumper and it welds to the trailer itself and folds up over the back doors. Now, our parts department does a great job on carrying a lot of the standard extras, like a rear ramp on this trailer. On these standard widths, our 6'10" wide, our 7'6" wide, and our 8-foot wide trailers. In this scenario, most of those are white because that's what the majority of the inventory is. But on this one here, a couple weeks heads up, we could have a champagne one built and have it shipped up here on a trailer. So those type of items we can always go in after the fact and add for you. And then again, as we get over here to driver's side, like I mentioned, the drop windows. Here's our big heavy duty drop windows. I talked about it on the tack door itself. Again, massive framework around these windows. So again, these are items we're going to open and close every time. The prefab stuff is very lightweight, can break very easily, which is going to cause maybe some additional, obviously parts replacement and then labor to go ahead and reinstall them. To where these items here are just built to last. I mean, that's just the way they are. They're big, they're heavy duty. Prefab windows, I would never attempt that on one of those. It'll literally, you can almost rip them off, it seems like. But because of the framework that we're dealing with here on these Cimarrons, and then the welded hinges with grease zerks, they're really stout. These are real easy to maintain because you can actually go ahead and put a grease gun to them. They've got a piece in here that is actually grooved, so when you start feeding the grease into it, it'll actually, as you start opening, it'll start working that grease throughout the whole hinge there. So really good from that standpoint. Also, these are bolt-on fenders that Cimarron uses. So again, going back into that labor and replacement costs, if you tear up a fender, it's easier to just unbolt these and take them off and then reinstall a new one rather than a weld on where you got to then cut it out, put a new one on, and then re-weld it. So again, you have additional labor costs. We all know what labor costs are these days. I mean, they continue to go up. So let's try to save you some money here and there. So there's an initial investment on these type of trailers, but again, if you maintain them and take care of them, boy, you're gonna have something really good and a real good return on your investment. I mean, these trailers are fantastic. They hold their value extremely well. Very sought after. We're not expecting this trailer to stick around long. I'll give you the stock number on it. So if you are interested in this, give us a call. Again, it's a 2020 Cimarron Norstar 2-horse bumper pull with the stock number 5U220118. So give us a call. Anybody on the sales team can help you out with this. We can keep an eye out for some other stuff for you. Or if you're looking to build something, we have some on order. We can custom build you something. Give us a call, 303-684-3400. Thanks for tuning in and have a good day.